the state of Georgia maintains and supports monuments to white supremacy. Don't believe me? Watch this. We are here at the state capitol for the state of Georgia, right? We're on the grounds of the state of Georgia's state capitol, the people's house, as some people call it, okay? So when I tell you that the state of Georgia maintains and supports monuments to white supremacy, this is what I'm talking about. You see, that man that is looking out there, sticking his finger in the air, yeah, see, that's Richard B. Russell. Richard B. Russell was one of the longest serving United States senators in the history of the Senate. And to his dying day, which was in 1970, this man was a racist, was a white supremacist, was the guy who basically did what's known as a filibuster of the 1964 Voting Rights Act, and any civil rights legislation that ever tried to pass, as long as this man was in the Senate, yeah, he blocked it, or he did his best to block it. In fact, you'll see here, Richard B. Russell, 1897 to 1971, yeah, till his dying day in the 70s, this man opposed integration for the United States of America in general and the state of Georgia in particular. He would be proud to tell you that he is a Southern racist. He was one of the leaders of what's known as the Dixiecrats. But we built a monument to this man. You can't even say that it is heritage, not hate, because this dude died in the 70s, okay? So you know that this damn statue isn't that old. So what else did he do other than be an impediment to progress to get him a statue on the grounds of the great state of Georgia? Ask yourself that. Moving on. When I tell you that the state maintains and supports racist statutes, this is another one. Because this man, his name was Joe E. Brown, all right? And Joe Brown was the governor during the Confederacy, okay? And after the Confederacy, he was a member of this legislature, right? State of Georgia's legislature. And if you watch my videos, you'll be reminded of the one that I did on the original 33, which were the original 33 black lawmakers that were elected during the Reconstruction era. Remember that they were basically disenfranchised and kicked out of the legislature based on their race. Well, guess who had the idea to do it? This man. Joe E. Brown is directly responsible for kicking out the only black elected officials during the Reconstruction era. It was his idea to kick those men out of their seats and expel them from the state of Georgia's legislature. Even more evidence that the state of Georgia maintains and supports monuments to white supremacy. This man right here, is the only four-term elected governor of the state of Georgia. And this man's name was Eugene Talmadge, right? And Eugene Talmadge was a dyed-in-the-wool segregationist, right? This man was the single reason that the state of Georgia's largest university, University of Georgia, lost their accreditation because he started meddling in the Department of Education, state of Georgia's Department of Education's affairs, because he had heard a rumor that the chairman of that department was thinking about integrating the schools in the state of Georgia. Just a mere rumor of black and white kids going to school together was enough for this man to meddle in the affairs of the Department of Education. You see, the Department of Education is always important to these races because they don't like the idea of black and white and other people's children being educated together. They really don't like the idea of the truth of how these southern states came to be being told in a truthful manner, particularly to really the white kids, because they don't want that idea of them intermingling and mixing ideas with people that don't look like them. But this man right here, was a proud segregationist to the point that he was the Ku Klux Klan's leading candidate. They campaigned for him, okay? So, yeah, he's actually known to being a proud segregationist, so keep that in mind. Moving on. This is the backside of the state of Georgia's Capitol building, okay? So I just showed you Eugene Talmadge's statue. The only other statues on this side. Oh, and let me show you this big, beautiful, I'm saying that word facetiously, gate that the state of Georgia put up. You see this? It surrounds the whole grounds of the People's House. And it's not old, it's new. The only reason this new gate was put up was because during the so-called racial acknowledgement after the George Floyd murder on national TV during prime time, yeah, we had that racial reckoning, right? So some people got wind of, and oh, by the way, here is the colored section. There's the statue for the original 33, and there's the obligatory statue of Martin Luther King. You know, it's small, but it's proud. You know, we're happy for it. Thank you, sir. All right, so this gate here was put all around this Capitol because one of the George Floyd racial reckoning protesters had the audacity to come on these grounds and use a piece of chalk to point out that one of the other statues on these grounds, one of the main statues, the biggest statue, the most prominent statue on these grounds for this grounds here for this state legislature, yeah, state capitol, that particular protester wrote in chalk, defacing the statue that I'm about to show you. All right, and that's to the Civil War Confederate general and former governor of this state, whose name was John B. Gordon. Okay, and I've already did a video that goes into detail about John B. Gordon, but just know that, yeah, he was the head of the Ku Klux Klan in the state of Georgia during the Reconstruction era. There's no telling how many people this man terrorized, how many people this man unalived on his orders, okay? How many black people for just being black people, okay? But we build monuments to these people. It's to the point where this man's own family says, hey, we don't need to have a monument of our family member on these grounds. This man was a racist. So we'll allow you guys to remove it. But the state of Georgia and its so-called infinite wisdom, yeah, they held steady. They chose to put up a damn fence instead of doing what we would consider the right thing and removing this thing to either somebody's private property or to a museum or to some park that tells the full story of the legacy of this state's white supremacist nature, okay? Because make no mistake about it, this state was built on the backs of black people and was created off the land that was stolen from brown people. Let's be honest about this stuff. So, you know, when they're talking about historic ground, this ground actually belonged to indigenous people. And I'm going to tell you about how the state of Georgia ended up getting this property and most of the property that is surrounded by it, okay? So stay tuned. Oh, yeah, and our beautiful flag there, right up under the nation's flag, yeah, that flag is based on the original flag for the official flag of the Confederacy of the United States of America. You're familiar with the Confederate battle flag, but this flag is based on the official flag for the Confederacy. I'll talk about that too, because the flag is considered a standard, and this is the standard for the state of Georgia. And one more thing, there are no monuments, for the original Georgians. There are no monuments to Native Americans here, and the whole argument is that these races that they built these monuments to are historical figures in the state of Georgia's history. Well, why not put a monument to the Native Americans? Hell, put one up for Tamachichi. He was the one that sold General Oglethorpe the land originally before they started taking it. So how about putting up a monument for him? How about putting one up for James Oglethorpe, who was the original trustee who pretty much created the state of Georgia, the colony of Georgia? How about putting it up for some women? The only woman that's on these grounds that has a monument dedicated to her is the apparent wife of Joe E. Brown that I'm showing you. And I'm sure she took more ass kickings than anybody, because usually when these fire-eating races have such anger towards a group of people, they aren't the most enlightened ones when it comes to relationships with their significant others. Okay? Keep that in mind. And when I say that the state of Georgia maintains and supports monuments to white supremacy, I mean that our tax dollars go to keeping these statues up and operational, okay? When pigeons do what they do on statues, somebody cleans it off, When a protester writes something in chalk saying, take this thing down, somebody had to erase it. So your tax dollars, if you're a citizen of the state of Georgia, goes to maintaining white supremacy, monuments to white supremacy. Keep that in mind as I'll show you this through this fence that they put up with taxpayer money to keep the citizens from telling you about these people's stories.